If you are a journal lover, don't skip this. This episode is brought to you by the Cast Your Cares Guided Journal. Cast Your Cares is a guided journal for Christian women who are seeking to build confidence, fight anxiety, and stop overthinking using the Word of God. If you've been feeling like your thoughts have been all over the place and you've really been wanting to build the habit of consistent time with God, this is the perfect tool for you. To see the Cast Your Cares journal for yourself and what's included, you can click the link in the show notes. Now let's get into the episode. You're listening to the Organize My Thoughts podcast, where we teach you how to get out of your head so you can execute the vision. I am your host, Kyla Jackson. Let's get started. Hello, family, and welcome back to another episode of the Organize My Thoughts podcast. I hope you all are having an amazing week. In today's episode, we're actually going to be playing the audio from one of my latest YouTube videos called How to Organize Your Thoughts. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel under Kyla Jackson, or you can search Organize My Thoughts podcast to see practically what it looks like to organize your thoughts. And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Hello, family, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to talk about how to organize your thoughts. Now, organizing your thoughts is so important because we have so many thoughts that go through our mind that really go unchecked each and every single day. And so when we don't begin to check these thoughts and to interrupt these thought patterns that we have, next thing you know, we could be going down cycles of anxiety, cycles of stress, and just all these other things that really could have been caught early if we learn how to organize our thoughts. Now, again, you could have a 9-to-5, you could be working a side business, you could have a bunch of responsibilities on your plate. And so it's very important that you learn how to take some time out of your busy routine and actually get your thoughts together. I cannot tell you how many people I talk to that are like, I just feel like I'm all over the place. You know that feeling where you're just going and going and going and going, and you're keeping your mental to-do list and just trying to keep up with everything? It's a lot, and it can be very draining. And even when you're feeling like you need to organize your thoughts, when you just feel like you don't have control of anything, when you feel like very overwhelmed and stressed and anxious. And so I want to give you some great tips to help to organize your thoughts and walk you through how I organize mine on a daily and weekly basis. But before we actually get into the tips, I want to give you some benefits of taking the time to organize your thoughts. And the first benefit is it helps you to regain control. There's nothing more frustrating than feeling like your life is spiraling all over the place. And sometimes while we can't control the circumstances or sometimes even the responsibilities that come across our plate, we can take control of our thoughts and how we approach these situations. So by taking the time to organize your thoughts, you're actually going to be able to control your responses better, control your emotions, and even have a better handle on what's going on in your life because you're going to be able to see it and it's not just going to be all up in your head. The second benefit of organizing your thoughts is it helps to stop spiraling mental episodes. So sometimes, like I mentioned before, we get in these places where we are so used to just carrying our own responsibilities and sometimes the burdens of others that we get into these places of deep anxiety or stress or overwhelm. But organizing your thoughts will help you to prevent that spiral, right? Because you hit this spiral or this burnout point a long time before the actual symptoms show up. And so by organizing your thoughts, you can actually stop that process a lot earlier and really figure out what needs to be done so that you're not hitting that rock bottom place. And the third benefit of organizing your thoughts is it helps you to identify problem areas. Again, if you allow your thoughts to go unchecked, you don't really know where the issue really lies because it seems like everything is the problem. But when you actually take some time to slow down and just say, okay, what is going on through my head? What is going on in my week? What are my responsibilities? What's a priority and not a priority? That's a huge thing because, again, when we're feeling very overwhelmed and stressed or anxious, it seems like everything is a priority when in reality, it's really not. So by organizing your thoughts, you'll be able to identify those problem areas, stop those mental spiraling episodes, and really regain control of your life. So let's jump into simple ways for how to organize your thoughts. The first way is just by grabbing a simple pen and paper. Grab your favorite notebook. It doesn't have to be a fancy one, although I prefer a very aesthetic one because it just helps me to set the atmosphere and really just step away from, life and just focus on what's in front of me. But grab a pen and paper, and I want you to do an empty out session. These empty out sessions don't have to take more than 5 minutes, but the longer you do them, the more you can just kind of get out of your brain. But the purpose of an empty out session is to literally take all the thoughts that have been spiraling around in your brain, all those tasks, responsibilities, and even those negative thoughts, and then just dump them out on paper. Don't worry about them being in a particular order. Just allow your thoughts to flow. It's very important that you're able to see your ideas and your thoughts on paper because that will help you to start prioritizing things and really regaining that control. So you can do that. I like to do different sections sometimes. I like to empty out by my categories in life. So I'll empty out about personal things that I'm going through, work-related things. You can do family-related things and even like financial things. So if that will help you to just kind of get everything out, you can do it that way. Or if not, you can just literally let it flow. Don't worry about it being perfect. Sometimes, things that you weren't even thinking about will come up, but it's really important to just let it all out. Now, after you do this, I recommend not just leaving it there, but actually looking over what you've written. And this is important because it'll allow you to, again, identify those problem areas so that you can start putting things in proper order. Now, when I do my empty out sessions, usually they're all over the place, which is actually very refreshing because it's the one time where I don't have to have everything perfect and in order. And the first thing I deal with before I even deal with my tasks that are on there or my responsibilities is I deal with my thoughts. I literally look at what are the lies that have been going through my head that are trying to overwhelm me, that are trying to stress me out. And the first thing that I do is I go and find scripture to combat those things. It's very important that we learn how to interrupt our thought cycles because if not, that's how we end up in those deep mental spirals that I mentioned earlier. So once I can see the lies, I know how to fight back against them. Again, you have to regulate your thoughts because every thought that's going through your mind is not your own. And when you're able to write them down in these empty out sessions, again, you're able to see that target point and focus your attention on there. Once my thoughts are clear and I've realized what's been overwhelming me or what's been making me feel very anxious, then I move on to my tasks and my responsibilities. And the first thing that I do is I look them over and I see what is actually a priority right now and what is just something that I can put off at another time. And by doing that, I'm able to regain control of my life, regain control of my mind, and then set a plan in place moving forward. Now, if you're not a notebook person and you happen to have access to a whiteboard, I'm a big fan of a whiteboard. I have a smaller one. Maybe it's about like 18 by 24 in my room. And I love using this whiteboard because it gives me a lot more space than just with a notebook. So that's another way that you can do it. If you have a local library that you can go to, they have the ones that are the size of the wall, which are amazing. But even an 18 by 24 or just a smaller one will do. And that will allow you to kind of erase things, put things in place. But the whole purpose of organizing your thoughts is getting them out of your head and on paper so that you can see them and start making a plan. I know sometimes when I do an empty out session, it can feel very overwhelming seeing all those things, but the part of the control comes back in because I'm the one who gets to put things in place. I'm the one that can take authority over any negative thoughts that are trying to come against me, and I'm the one who can rearrange what's in front of me to make it work for me. Now, I recommend organizing your thoughts on a weekly basis because so much goes on, and if you only do it on a monthly basis, sometimes it can just be very overwhelming and you won't actually get to see any of the changes that you've made. But by doing it on a weekly basis, you're able to say, okay, this is what's in front of me, this is how my week went, and these are the changes that I'm going to apply, the next week. So you'll be able to see those, mini progress changes, and you will see the improvement in your mood. I think it's very important to take some time to just reflect, to see how your week is going. And you will find I usually do this either at the end of the week or at the beginning of the next week. So that would be either like a Friday evening or morning or a Sunday morning. But you want to make sure that you do it before your week starts so that you have a better handle. So I hope this helps. Remember, you are in control of your thoughts. At any moment, you can interrupt a negative thought cycle and replace it with a positive one. At any moment, you can regain control of your life. It just requires a little bit of sit down time and reflection. If you want additional help organizing your thoughts, you can also check out my podcast, the Organize My Thoughts podcast, anywhere podcasts are available, and I have more tools in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up so I know that you like this content, and be sure to subscribe. And I'll talk to you in the next one.